This will be my first time ever visiting an art exhibition.
Art Jakarta was so cool.
It was so full of creativity, of people creating arts in very creative ways.
Honestly, I didn't expect to be utterly in awe of what I saw. Art existed as an outlet for these artists.
They want to convey their deepest and darkest thoughts.
Delivered through subtlety, details. These were outstanding creations made by pushing beyond their limit. It tickled my brain.
I felt so many emotions. Art Jakarta truly made my day.
Made me feel curious about what inspired these people to make such arts, the meaning, the composition, and what they felt during the process of making it.
Such admirable artwork.
So beautiful, outstanding, and out of the box.
Such an amazing experience.
We get to watch a play as well.
It's interesting to watch cultures mixed together in a performance. Low-key, I'm still thinking about the 2 paintings I couldn't buy. The fact is, good art is never boring.
It was a bit tiring as well, but
I look forward to seeing more. It was actually so much fun! I want to go there again.
okay, wait, this would actually eat in my living room.
No, literally, put a warm lamp next to it and suddenly you're rich.
Exactly. The painting's kind of ugly, but like, it's the expensive kind of ugly. You know? You know what I mean?
I know.
I'm telling you, the price is gonna shut up in the future. Ooh, for real? Buy it now and sell it later. That's how you make a profit. I bought art yesterday actually.
Actually, how much?
It was only like 10 million rupiah.
That's like twice the minimum wage.
So what? It's pretty. Okay, what's your thought on this one?
That's hair. A tub of hair.
Do you think like it has a meaning?
I think it's weird, dude. Legit freaking weird.
We think there has been death in the value of arts. Or perhaps death is a bit too harsh of a word, but there has been a change of perspective or perception in art.
Hello everyone, my name is Karen.
Sasha here.
My name is Hannah.
Hi, I'm Rena.
We are first-year students from English Literature of Universitas Indonesia, and this semester, for one of our courses, we made a project about death in the value of art. We think art has gotten more complicated.
Art now is treated no differently than a form of commodity. It's traded for money.
Art means nothing.
Modern art values public attention more than emotional values.
Some arts are created without value.
The real essence is disappearing.
There has been AI art, even so-called AI artists.
There's monetary value, but the artwork itself lacks any essence.
Originality itself, it's slowly disappearing.
Exhibition feels like a supermarket, and studios feels like factories.
Not all of them are coherent. Some are nonsensical.
Art today feels less authentic. They produce more and more art just to gain more profit with less and less meaning, touch, and heart. Somehow, these arts became the pinnacle of modernity, weirdly treated as some kind of masterpiece. Most of them are just commercialized.
It feels meaningless.
Art no longer feels like a reflection of human experience, yet instead a fight of concept.
Trade marketing concept calls them a one-of-a-kind form of art, putting them at an absurd price point.
Creativity is no longer appreciated.
It makes me question if true originality is still possible to exist in a world where machines can imitate creativity endlessly.
These are just a few of our many concerns in regards to art. We think death in the value of art is a global issue important to be addressed. We went to Art Jakarta in order to experience art ourselves, doing field researches instead of just speculating about art. We wanted to see art nowadays for ourselves, and this is just a part of our semester-long project discussing this topic. We did all these just to prove the statement if there has been death in the value of arts, and you are now in our conclusion. It was fun. It was an interesting experience, though because of scheduling issue, I had to go there alone, so it was quite a tiring endeavor. It was an exhausting journey.
Honestly, it was the first time I went to an art exhibition, and at first I don't have any hopes for it to be extravagant, but I was proven wrong because once I made it to the venue itself, I was immersed by the art.
It was interesting and fun indeed because I got so many new experiences.
The trip was super inspiring, exciting since it was my first time visited art exhibition, and Jakarta Art Gardens made me realize how creative and diverse art can be.
Entertainment. Though it may be able to express so many things, I think its main purpose is to entertain, or at the very least to amuse people.
To me, art is supposed to be an outlet for us to express ourselves.
I think art is supposed to be something that you put through not only by effort but also by heart.
I think art is basically a way for people to express their thoughts, emotions, and perspective freely.
As an observer of art, and because my job requires me to interact with a lot of arts, be it performing arts or just, visual arts, digital art, it's been an experience. And because it's been an experience, I've seen so many different types of arts, and I've seen good arts, I've seen bad arts, but they exist even from the artists that are the masters of its interesting subject and stuff.
I feel like nowadays art has become more competitive than it used to be, especially when they put an absurd amount of price tag in one art piece, and the art piece itself doesn't make sense.
I think art is harder to pursue as a career nowadays because there are a lot of people who underestimate artists, and there are so many artistic values that are buried as time goes on.
It just keeps evolving with the era. Like AI and technology created new forms of art, but sometimes originality feels less personal because things become too easy and mass produced.
As I went to the exhibition, I think the first thing that I noticed is that, wow, these artists really dedicate their whole life in order to create these singular artwork. It might not be the only work that they made, but the amount of skills, the amount of trial and error that they've gone through in order to be able to produce this one specific art was Definitely a lot, and that's something that I think can be appreciated. The skills that is honed, the not just the talent, but the effort that is put in order to create any kinds of art. That was the one thing I noticed the most.
Probably the fact that I now see that people not only admire art as it is, but they're also perceiving it like me, emotionally, curiously, and soulfully.
I don't think there is any changes in my perspectives, but instead I got more new perspectives on how art actually varied, and it actually reflects on each artist's values and identity.
I don't think that art changed that much, and it just kept evolving with the era, like AI or the type of art with nowadays generations. And I do actually appreciate art and artists way more now. But social media and AI, sometimes make art feel more trend based than genuine.
It's my life. It's my reason to live. It's why I keep doing things, because I want to create art.
Art, for me, is an outlet, a tool that can help me present myself if I can through words like this, talking to the camera or talking to my friends. I'm a writer personally. I tend to have problems when it comes to talking. So with art, with writing, novels, fantasy, whatever you call it, I just feel more free to express.
To me, art is a medium to tell values, perspectives, and stories. And it has the ability to deliver all of those things, not with words, but through connection to the viewers.
To me, art is freedom, and it's a way for us show our self-expression without limits.
No.
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 Not really.
Because it hasn't applied to the entirety of arts. I do realize that nowadays, as I've analyzed plenty of arts for this project, there's a lot of arts that are basically valueless. Most of them are only valued financially, which doesn't mean anything when you appreciate art for the purpose that it is, for the emotion that it provokes in other people. But that of a view doesn't mean the extinction, doesn't mean a complete extinction of everything. I think there is still value in art nowadays, but it's just getting a bit harder to find.
I feel like it's a matter of perspective, actually. Some may see it as the value of art has died, some may not. It's just how you view art entirely. It's up to you.
I think what I can take is that art is just changing its form, which is marked by how it reflects each generation's lives, and eventually it becomes an identity of its own generation.
I realized art will always develop following the times, but a real art still needs the meaning, okay? Like the meaning, creativity, and of course, effort behind it. As I said, for those artists who create art with AI or something, I think it's kind of illegal. You know, I don't mean it, but that's a fact.